Hello, and thank you for joining us. We are talking about Bible prophecy. We are asking the question, what time is it? Are we in the end times? And do we see evidence of that around us? Let's look at the electrical system. The electrical wires cover the nation. They, like a vine, cover the land. Never before in the history of humanity has it been like this. The people have covered the land with a cord, a cord that connects them, that brings them power, and they stay in the cord. They live within the vine. It wraps up around them. It completely has swallowed them up, and they have lived in the vine for well over a century. And they, as long as they have lived in the vine, they have produced much fruit. The vine of the last days has produced so much fruit for our generation. All the devices, all the new technologies are fruit of the vine that they built at this time, not 200 years ago, 300, 400. No, they built it now. It is new. It is for our generation. It is the vine of the last days. And it's more than just a vine. It is the foundation of the modern world. Electricity is the foundation of the world. It is the cornerstone of the world. Not just the foundation they built upon, but it is the cornerstone. The data, the images, the music, the sounds, the money is all held on microchips and other electrical signals propagated through the internet. It is the cornerstone of their civilization, and it is the light of their world. This vine, this electric vine that has wrapped up around people has become the vine of the last days. It has become the vine that should be Christ. It has become the foundation that should be Christ. It has become the cornerstone that should be Christ, and it has become the light of the world. And that also should be Christ. And the vine has produced so much fruit. We have produced so much fruit in that vine. And we have produced fruit in that vine and actually called it apple. It is literally fruit. And we are literally the branches in that vine as we connect the fruit to the vine. The fruit does not connect itself to the vine. We connect it to the vine. And now if this sounds familiar at all, it is because Jesus is the true vine. So we see that in John 15. I am the vine, ye the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. Well, in this day and age, in this generation, we have become the branches in a false vine, the vine of the last days. It opposes the truth, it resists the truth, and it does so by doing in like manner. That is what they have done. If you look at the world with the foundation, the light, the cornerstone, all of it is this metallic vine that we have tapped into, become the branches in, and produced much fruit. This has happened in the last days because the Bible prophesied. God told us it would be like this in the last days, that they would do in like manner with their enchantments, that they would resist the truth by doing in like manner with their enchantments. And we see that in Exodus 7. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. Now this is what they have done in our time. They have done in like manner with their enchantments. Not to Moses, they have done in like manner to the truth. For they resist the truth. And this confirms that we are in the last days, because it says specifically in 2 Timothy 3 that that's what the last days would be. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. It describes what the people will be like, but let's skip down to verse 8 where it tells you what they will be doing. Now, as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. They resist the truth following the same pattern. They resist the truth following the pattern of the magicians of Egypt. Jannes and Jambres named here. They withstood Moses. And the people of the last days, they resist the truth as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses. And they resist the truth all around us, because you can see, as we just went over, they built their own vine. They have become the branches in that vine. That vine is their light. It is their cornerstone. It is the foundation they built their world upon. And as they live in the vine, they have produced much fruit. But the true vine is Christ. Their vine is a false vine. Their vine is the vine from Deuteronomy 32:32. For their vine, of the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah, their grapes of gall, their clusters bitter. The fruit of the vine are the devices and all the technology that we connect to the vine. It is the fruit. Their grapes of gall, their clusters bitter. And when you look at that word, bitter, it is marora, which means poison. It is translated bitter here. Their clusters bitter. And when we look at the devices, they run on iOS. The most popular devices, the Apple devices, run on the operating system called iOS. iOS is a Greek word. iOS is a Greek word that occurs in the Bible. It is translated poison. iOS is translated poison, and that is what we see all around us. Literally, the fruit on the vine literally is of poison. It runs on the word poison. It runs on the Greek word, which is translated poison. And that word occurs in the Bible, as we'll see, and it fulfills the Bible prophecies about the last days. This shows that we are in the last days. This tells us what time it is, because you see what they have done. They have built a vine. They opposed the truth. As Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, they opposed the truth. They have built their vine and their clusters bitter. Just like it says, their clusters bitter, poison. And we see that they are literally running on poison, the word poison, because the writing is on the wall for our generation. The writing is on the wall so that we may recognize and know what time it is. Now let's go on to James 5 and see this again. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. The gold and silver, the devices, the electronic devices, have small amounts of gold and silver in them, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. It says the rust of them. The rust will be a witness against the people of the last days. And we see that the word rust here is that Greek word, iOS. It is that Greek word translated rust here in the context of gold and silver. It occurs 2 other times in the Bible where it is translated poison. And we see this is the word of God coming to pass before your eyes, because that word, iOS, rust, is the same word they use for the operating system, the iOS. It is poison. And if you look at the verse, it says, the rust of them, the iOS of them, the poison of them shall be a witness against you. And this has just come to pass. As you have seen this, as you have watched this video, as we have explained to you that the iOS is poison, and these devices are the fruit of the vine of the last days. And it said that vine, the vine of Sodom and of the fields of Gomorrah, that their clusters would be bitter, would be poison. And we see that the devices on the end of it are actually running on poison, are actually running on the iOS. And we see that this verse, James 5:3, tells us that the rust of them, the iOS of them, shall be a witness against you. And as we look at it now, it is a witness against the people of the last days. This word of God has been fulfilled right now, right in front of you, this very moment. It is the framework, because it says in Hebrew 11:3, through faith we understand that the world, and that's the eons, the time periods, not the planets. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. The worlds, the ages, are framed by the word of God. And the last days are framed by the word of God, like a house frame, so that once this house is built, you will recognize it by its frame, which you already know. You will recognize where the windows are, the garage, that it's 2 stories. This house, when it's finished, will be recognizable from its frame alone. And the end times are all around us and recognizable by the frame left in the Word of God. The framework for the end times is in the Word of God, and we can see it. We can see it with our eyes. We can see it with our eyes right now in this generation because we are at the end. We are at the time just before the return of Christ. We are in the end days, and the writing is on the wall for our generation. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Also, see my other videos on YeshuaIsComing.com or on SignOfFire.com. Thank you once again, and God bless. Until next time.